Ephraim, welcome
Yes.
to Riveter's Time Well Spent.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrea.
Yes, you are like the guru of 2020 unemployment. I think Time Magazine should have called you that. I don't think they did yet, but they should have. I want to go back, and we're going to talk about why for sure. But I want to go back and start with your first week after losing your job. What was that experience like for you? And tell me about your mindset, your emotions, your frustrations during that first week.
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. I don't know about time yet, but definitely, we're a community of people making a difference. It's no one individual aspect, no, but it's multiple people contributing to a bigger, wider effort that's able to make change. So I was, um, let me think. Wow, I haven't thought about this in such a long time, even though it's been a few months. So I was laid off myself. I think in the end of April or maybe May, probably May. I think end of May, somewhere over there. And the thing is like you certain times you think like, oh, this can never happen to me. I'm doing such a good job, or I'm stable in my thing. And it will never happen again. I was seeing a lot of my friends and other colleagues and other people every single day at that period of time. This is the beginning of COVID. It was April, May, when you're hearing so many news every single day. I'll get another call from somebody, hey, I just got laid off, or I heard this, I see a news article over there. I'll be on my LinkedIn feed and see all the people that I've worked with previously all getting laid off, even people that I was working on deals with at that period of time. I was in prop tech at another company, a phenomenal company, and people are working on deals with were saying, hey, I'm not here anymore. And this is all a matter of a time span of 2 months. It wasn't like we saw this coming. So when I got that call myself, I think my initial feeling was a feeling of shock. I went into total shock. Like it just wasn't something I was expecting. It wasn't like there was any type of sign or anything else that this was coming. So I went through those stages of like the first few minutes like total shock, and I did go through those grief stages like that first day. But being the person who I am in general, an optimistic person, I knew it's like I'll get over this. Something will happen. I'm a big believer in divine providence, a big believer in making things happen. Things will happen in the same way I got my previous job. Opportunities present itself as long as you put yourself out there. But the initial feeling was, yeah, it was total shock. A bunch of fears come together with it, like, hey, what am I going to do next? How am I going to support myself? And then you have different internal feelings, like, what is my value to the world? What is my contribution? Am I able to add something? Do people value me? Am I valuable? Am I going to able to become a success? Am I going to, whatever, all these things, these bust your head, that come in, all these fears and all these like thoughts and the negative sayings and like, the people on your shoulder, which is your internal self, start throwing in all these, internal voices start talking back to each other. So it's like essentially two things colliding within you. You have all the voices telling you you're never going to amount to anything because you just got laid off. And then you have the things like, trying to, which are out, the outshining the positive side of you or the optimistic side of you saying, hey, everything's going to be okay. It's a very difficult time. So I did go through that period of like, the first few days was like, hey, what's going to be? What am I going to do?
Who
So
did you go to? I mean, it's a brutal feeling. It's got like, even in this example, you're saying, hey, for 2 months, people have been telling me that they were getting laid off, but it would never happen to me. And then it did. And it's a tough feeling. Who did you go to? What did you talk about? What were you doing to cope with it, to work through it in that period of time?
for sure. So obviously, you make the first few phone calls you make to it are, your close friends, your mentors. I remember I called up right away afterwards. I called up a mentor of mine saying, hey, this is what happened. And then I called up another friend and another 2, 3 friends. I called up saying, this is what's going on. And I highly recommend to anybody, knowing that one of the biggest things is, especially when you get laid off, people get laid off, they feel like they're alone. They feel like there's a feeling of shame that comes together with it in order to talk to someone else about it. Like, I can't tell, if someone had, their person's fear is once they get laid off, like, what is this person going to think about me now that I'm laid off? Is he going to think of me not a success? Or whatever else their fear may be. But one thing is people just feel alone. You have to know you're not alone, right? So right away, the first thing I did was I called somebody. I said, hey, this is what happened. This is what I'm feeling. This is what my emotions are. And we spoke about it. we're able to talk about it. He's able to give some words of encouragement or words of advice. And most people are, and a lot of things are, I think a big important thing is that if someone calls you and tells you that you just got laid off, don't give advice or suggestions. And this is what my friends were able to be there for me. They just listened intuitively, attentively. It wasn't about like, oh, don't worry, you're going to get over it. You're going to be okay. No. They're like, yeah, that sucks, man. I feel you. I identify you. That totally sucks. And, I think at a point like that, it's okay to acknowledge the feelings that, yeah, it's a shitty feeling. It's a shitty place to be. And, if someone else listening to this and could benefit from that, that aspect, that idea is like, if a friend calls you up, we love to give advice. As human beings, we just love to give advice. We love to hear our own voice and spew our own wisdom and make it sound smart. Don't do that. Just listen to what the person has to say. Be there for him, provide that ear. Because someone that's on the other side of the phone, the person that just got laid off, that's all they need. They just need to have that. And they need to know that there is someone there supporting them. So the first thing I did was I called a few friends over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, coming out of that, you yourself, there's always, unemployment feels like an opportunity to try new things, to experiment. For you, it seems like it was an opportunity to go back to things you actually love to do, to go back to being an entrepreneur, to go back to starting things. We've had a lot of people on Time Well Spent talk about using unemployment as an opportunity to try to be an entrepreneur. You decided to do that. Tell me the story of the first kernel of an idea, the first start of 1,000 Hires.
Sure. So before 1,000 Hires, I've always been involved in the startup world. I've started multiple startups myself, failed a lot, learned a lot. I was that kid in your class that you hated, that went to Costco to buy with his parents to buy stuff wholesale and sell, and sell like double the price in your class. I did that, going to store, buying all the drinks and everything else. So I've always been in the entrepreneurship type of mindset, always trying to start things and building things up. So after I got laid off, my goal was like, I wanted to go ahead and start something else. I was going to go ahead and start up. And, a big focus of mine was always surrounded around people. And the ideas I had were like, related to company culture, how to make people the best version of themselves. Because, when we become the best version of ourselves, we're able to, our impact is not just within ourselves, but our impact is in larger scale of the world in order to make the world a better place. And I was focusing on specific things. And, so literally it's like I got laid off on a Friday. Right. I took the weekend off, right, Sabbath and relax and friends. It took Sunday, Monday. By Wednesday already, I'm like, okay, let me get back together, get my act together, and let me start working on stuff. And I right away started working on different ideas, thinking of different stuff and everything like that. What is essential? What can I do? What's out there? And I started exploring different things within, company culture, making human beings, providing the ability for human beings to be the best version of themselves. And in the meantime, as I was thinking of ideas and speaking to people, I'm like, what can I do to sort of occupy my time to a certain degree, to keep busy, at the same time help people, really make a difference. And I still remember the exact feeling where it was. It was a Friday night. I was sitting by, I'm an Orthodox Jew, sitting by the Shabbat table with my family. I was literally thinking, what can I do to help people right now at this matter of time? Because the two things that we spoke about before, making sure people don't feel alone, that people care about them, that they're connected to a wider community, that there's someone that is going to help them through the journey. That's one thing. And the second thing, I was like, well, what can we do in order to create something unique, in order to create awareness around the candidate, to bring them out to show the world about them, who they are. I remember exactly, I was sitting there Friday night, and all of a sudden this light bulb literally just went off. Like, hey, why don't you do video, connect that, use the LinkedIn platform in order to create a network effect, to spread it around, where we can share a person's unique story about them, because every single person has a story, right? It has their unique experiences. And as human beings, we connect through stories, we connect through experiences. That's how we're able to identify with someone else, right? Let me use that, and we spread it all around. And I remember this idea literally just went in my head. I'm like, wow, it's brilliant. And it was the Sabbath, so I couldn't use technology.
It's a good idea when you have it yourself, and then yourself say, wow, that's brilliant. The true judge of a good idea. So it's the Sabbath. You can't do a video that night. You can't do a video the next night. These darn rules. Is it Sunday? Is it Monday? Do you call a friend and say, hey, let me talk to you for 10 minutes?
No, so Saturday night. So Saturday night, as soon as Sabbath is over, right away, I went on LinkedIn. I found a bunch of people that were laid off. I messaged them right away saying, hey, I have this idea. Do you want to go ahead and do it? And the next morning, Sunday morning, I got a bunch of responses, and people were like, yeah, sure, I'll try it out. And, so I'm the type of person, like, I don't wait for a brainstorming session. I don't wait for a focus group. I don't wait for, let's figure out all the details. Let's write everything out. No. If I have an idea, I'm going to go ahead and try it out, because either it works or it doesn't work. There's no way about it. It's a very similar thing. Like, friends always ask me, hey, I'm debating, should I call my company this name, that name? I'm like, listen, there's only one way about it. The name of a company makes absolutely no difference at all. Why? Because either you can have the craziest name, but you become big enough that they all remember you, or you can have the best name, but you suck and they won't remember you at all. It's the same thing, same exact thing with an idea in a company. Like, to start a focus group, create detailed oriented sheets and this and that, it's a waste of time. Go ahead and do it, right? If it works out, you will know right away. If it does, and you'll get able to whatever, we get feedback along the way, reiterate. If it doesn't work out, you also know right away, and you're able to pivot into something else. So I'm like the type of, like, as soon as I had the idea, as soon as Sabbath was over, I right away went to the computer, messaged a bunch of people, and got a bunch of responses. And right away I started doing videos. Literally, it's Monday morning. I started doing my first video interviews, and I think we did a few, like 4 or 5. And next thing I know, I had like 15 people like saw the video, messaged me saying, hey, can I do this too? And then that night, Monday night, I'm like, let me do a Project 1000, which a Project 1000 be helping 1,000 people get hired. And I launched it that night, and that took off. And then obviously the story, like every startup, things just lead into each other. And, one thing you realize that it's not like, all of a sudden, like you're having a big idea and then you can build this whole entire thing. It's like, no, you have this one small idea, and then that small idea leads to another thing, and that reiterates into another thing. So we started off doing video interviews, which went into a platform went into community went into this, and one thing led to another. And along the way, I was able to, we were able to build a big community. It went together. We were able to have other teammates join us, which was absolutely incredible. And the credit is not me, the credit is to the whole entire community and to the team we built in order to really make an impact and change and effect in this world and everything. Yeah.
Tell me about you've interviewed now hundreds of people, interacted with probably hundreds more who are all in this position. What is something you've learned about the way people cope with this that maybe universal is too strong a term, but is as broad as you can make it? Speaking with as many people as you've spoken with, as deeply as you've spoken to them, what is universally true about this experience?
Just to understand the question better, what would you like to know?
What I would like to know is, you spoke to 500 people who all lost their jobs. How are people handling it? Is there any universal approach? Is there any universal emotion? Is there any universal need? Anything you've heard over and over again from people?
Right. At this point in time, I feel like something I could write a book about this whole entire experience.
We got to narrow it down to like 30-second sound bites.
Let's see. Universal things and what people. Wow. I haven't thought about it to a certain degree in a detail-oriented process, but I would say a feeling of loneliness is one thing. People feel alone. That's people feel like things are working against them right now, right? Because there is a lot of complaints in the whole recruiter thing, feeling ghosted, lack of feedback, and multiple things like that.
I'll give you one. I'll layer on top of that. I think one thing that I've seen with a lot of people is a surprising amount of more positivity than I would have imagined. There's certainly loneliness and frustration, but there's a lot of, this sucks, but I'm going to keep going. Or, I got a lot of value out of helping someone today, and that made me feel good. There's a lot more positivity than I might have expected, and than a lot of people might expect.
No, that's 100% for sure. That I'm seeing on a daily basis. Just the fact to see, if we were in different circumstances, like let's say not COVID, it would be totally different. Like, when was the last time you saw people that were laid off helping other people being laid off, right? So, like, we'll take 1,000 hires, for example. Our whole team of 1,000 hires are all people that were laid off, right? And are all helping other people. And within our 1,000 hires community, where you have people laid off, let's say, for example, someone's interviewing for a job and it didn't work out for them, the first thing they're doing is they're posting in our Slack community, or they're going to private message someone saying, hey, I just interviewed for this job. It's not for me. Can I refer you to it, right? And that's just not happen. It's not just happening in our community, but I'm seeing that happen on LinkedIn and other people that are talking back to me in other and talking to me in other places, where people are helping each other in multiple different ways, recommending jobs, going over their resume, helping their resume, doing mock interviews, or doing other things like that. So the support between unemployed people right now is the strongest it's ever been, and it's the most incredible thing to see the humanity come out of it. And that could be because of multiple different things together. But I think it's such an incredible thing that people are even themselves are surprised all about it. And just to see, like, for example, the whole entire, tech community and other communities come together and offer free resources, everything from coding to marketing to this to that. It's just an incredible thing to see that whole entire change in the rule, what's happening between people, how people are literally just people helping people. And it's the most humanizing experience possible.
Ephraim, I got one final question for you. I know you said you don't like to give advice, and I know you said people shouldn't give advice, but here's the scenario. Your friend gets laid off. They call you first thing. What do you tell them? Besides listening. Listening's important. What do you tell them?
I listen. And I identify them. I tell them, listen, let them complain. Let them talk about it. I'm not going to rush saying, hey, it's all going to be okay. No, it's a shitty situation. It sucks. It totally sucks. If they ask for my suggestion saying, what would you do? I say, hey, listen, take your first few days for yourself. Really, relax, take it easy. And I want you to know that I'm here. You can call me any single time. And I want you to know that, you're going to come out of the tunnel. Like I have a very big rule I live by in life to a certain degree, that nothing is as good as it ever seems, and nothing is as bad as it ever seems. It always ends up in the middle ground somewhere over there. And that's what's in it. You're going to come out of this. The same way you went into it, you got a job, you'll come out of it and you'll find another job, and you'll find another job, and you go back into your career and you go higher and higher and higher. So if you get laid off, God forbid, don't fall into the spirit saying, oh my gosh, my life's over, my career's over. No, it's just beginning. You know why? Because whenever there's a fall, whenever you fall down, it's only for you to go reach a higher level. So for me, for example, the fact that I got laid off was the biggest blessing possible for me. Why? I had the opportunity to launch 1,000 Hires and be able to help so many people find their next career move, and to be able to launch this incredible community. And we're building so many more things. So for me, that fall was my biggest, the blessing possible. I was able to reach much higher. And the same exact thing of every single person. If you get laid off, don't look at it as, oh my gosh, my life's over, my career's over, as a big curse. No, it's an opportunity for you to reach a new higher level that you never were before. And that's what's going to happen. All right. That's going to happen. So take the time, do some introspection, reflect, think about what you want to do. And whatever it is, once you do that, then you go ahead and attack how you're going to go about that, which is a whole nother session for itself. But that's what I would say.
I love it. Ephraim, thank you so much for sharing your story. Where can people learn more about you and about 1,000 Hires?
So 1,000 Hires is 1000hires.com. That's 1000 hires, HIRES.com. And me, I'm on LinkedIn, man. LinkedIn, send me a message. We could chat. We could schedule something for sure. Anyone. Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.